Okay, it's time for my quarterly series check-in. So this is, if you're new here, where I talk about the series that I've read in the previous season, so fall for this video, and what I hope to get to in the winter. And it's just a great accountability system for me because I always have multiple series going on the go. I love that. I'm not someone who's trying to fix that. I don't have a series issue, really. I'm typically usually up to date and usually have like single digits number of series that I have on the go. And so I like to check in, what are the ones I've finished, what are the ones I've continued and started, and then I do a TBR of what should I get to next. And it kind of sort of shows me, if I go by a couple seasons and I haven't touched a series, that maybe I've DNF'd that series, because I am way easier at DNFing series than I am books. But yeah, let's get into it first with the wrap-up. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what I thought. I usually do have reviews for most of the series that I finished, or they are already in wrap-ups, but this is just a nice way to compile all that information. So we're going to start with the ones I finished. So the first one, I think, actually was The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy. This was a reread. If you are new to my channel, I love Jemisin. It's like so many Jemisin books are right here. So unsurprisingly, this was fantastic. This was the first time where I used the audiobooks by Robin Miles. Loved them. So I finally have a series review that I can point people to and be like, if you want my Broken Earth trilogy thoughts, here they are. So it was fantastic. It was expected to be a fantastic experience. Now, what's funny, when I was rewatching my last video to figure out what did I plan to do, what was I like at the end of summer, I remember I had plans to read just the second book of the Lady Trent series. I read the entire main 5 of the Lady Trent series. I read 4 of them in the fall. It was amazing. So I read the main 5, Lady Trent. I haven't read the companion, but I'm going to consider that I finished the series. I finished the main 5. I am planning on reading the one where her granddaughter is the main character, but like, it is so cozy. I still need to make a series review for this. What I think I'll plan on doing is there are some letters to read, and then there's the companion novel, and I will make a series review after all of that so I can then also answer the questions about that standalone novel and everything like that, because I like my series reviews to be very much should you read it and less discussion videos. That's kind of how I frame them. But short story, I love them. Then Kate Redding does a fantastic job bringing Lady Trent to life. If you don't know what this series is about, it's about Lady Trent, a natural historian. She specifically studies dragons. It's set in like a Victorian-inspired world. She has to fight the patriarchy. She's great at science. She meets fantastic people. And I love her sass. So much sass in one character. So I finished that. Couldn't put it down while working on yarn projects. Next one we'll talk about is I finally read When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. I am up to date on this series now. I did it, guys. I did it. I don't know why I'd been pulling this off. This is exactly what I hoped it would be. Both of the books in this novella collection are fantastic, kind of folklore. I'm hearing someone tell me a story thing, and it's very much a story within a storative narrative nesting, which is my bread and butter. So loved it as much as I expected. I will continue to pick up novellas that come out in this world as they are released. And then I also reread and finished the Greenbone Saga. I do have a series review for the first 2 books. I haven't made an updated one that includes my thoughts on Jade Legacy, mainly because I still don't know how to talk about Jade Legacy. But I reread the first 2 in the fall and then read Jade Legacy. And I love it. It's like one of the best series arcs ever. It's amazing. So I do still think my Greenbone Saga series review video is useful, especially since I tend to have more tempered views on Jade War than the average person. But the only addendum I would say is Jade Legacy is phenomenal and one of the best series enders I've ever consumed. Like, it still is one of those things where this is very much a slow-paced family drama with explosive moments. That is what each book is. And that's it, though. So maybe I won't ever remake that video, because I do not know how to discuss Jade Legacy spoiler-free. I'm just like, all I want to do is just remember the moments. There were so many great moments. And it was just so expertly crafted. I don't have any critiques. So I'm so happy that I did the reread up to that. And then the last series, I didn't even really know it would be a series that I finished. I don't even have a name for it, but it's the Galaxy Game. It's the second book in a duology, where the first book is The Best of All Possible Worlds. This is Karen Lord. I love Karen Lord. The Galaxy Game is technically kind of more of a companion novel in this world, but it's definitely one of those things where you can't just skip the first book, and why would you? Because of the 2, Best of All Possible Worlds it's superior. I loved the Galaxy Game, but like, I adore and cherish the best of all possible worlds. So, it very much leans on the world building and character development that have already happened in the first book, and then you're following this one person deal with their circumstances, but also there's all of the political intrigue and galaxy stuff just wide open. There's lots of metaphors. I definitely need to reread it. It's one of those things where it's short and to the point, but I definitely missed a lot of things, but I'm so glad I read it. So those are the things where I caught up and finished series. And then I did reread The Mask of Mirrors, so I can read The Liar's Knot soon. We'll talk about that in a bit, but loved it even more this time around. I have a review for that. I talk about it all the time. Angela, shut up about The Mask of Mirrors. It's so good and no one reads it, okay? If I'm the only one talking about it, at least someone is. So, The Rook and the Rose trilogy is so good, and I heard from the authors in a panel that they are almost done with the draft of the third book, so the third book will be released probably, I would say, early 2023. So, yeah, it's so exciting. I know we all were hoping in 2022, but they gave us 2 books in 2021, so, that's a gift within itself. And 2 series that I continued that I talk about in every one of these videos, Wheel of Time and Malazan. So Malazan, I read House of Chains, and I have a spoiler chat about that. And I'm currently reading Midnight Tides, but, I have to kind of wait for Thesis Brain to calm down. Because, Thesis Brain has taken up all my time. But House of Chains, I read. I have conflicting thoughts, but I have a great spoiler chat vlog on it where I really go in depth. It's my least favorite of the Malazan books, but I've already started Midnight Tides, and it might be my favorite. So, take that as you will. And then Wheel of Time, I read book 7 and 8. Book 7 might be my favorite Wheel of Time book, and book 8 is just a 3-star Wheel of Time book. I think book 7 actually ends a lot of arcs and has an ending and is really interesting how it propels characters forward. It has really important moments. And book 8 does end some important arcs, but it's really just about everyone bickering about the right way to do things, which is just not interesting. It's just not an interesting way to do character interactions, but whatever. So I'm ready to continue on later with that. And then let's talk about series that I have started. So let's first talk about the Winnowing Flame trilogy, where I've read the first 2 books, Ninth Reign and The Bitter Twins. I love it. I love it so much. This is my type of adventure, save the day fantasy type of vibes. It's got a really compelling, cool world. The action scenes and the scary, creepy scenes are described so well. I instantly love the characters and their chemistry. Yeah, I cannot wait to finish it and then make my should you read series thing for this, because even though it's tricky to get these books in the United States because they're not published here, it's worth ordering them from Blackwell's or, Book Depository. It's worth it. Do I wish I had e-copies of them? Yes. Yes, I do. But it's okay. The covers are very pretty. I just love it. I love how inclusively LGBTQ it is. It's got animal companions. It's got some sci-fi-ish stuff. It's good, guys. It's good. I've never had so much anxiety as when I've read that series. So that's when I started, and I'm almost done with. I did start City of Lies. I read City of Lies. I am DNFing that series, unfortunately. It wasn't really for me. I can't think of what it did wrong. It just didn't work. I think for me it was just I didn't like the character interactions that I saw on page with our main point of views. I liked everyone who wasn't a point of view character, and I didn't even dislike our point of view characters. And it's a pretty low magic political intrigue story. And I could read the first book as a standalone, and I was content, so I'm not going to read The Hollow Crown, unfortunately. But I do think it has its audience, and it has some really compelling representation. But that one was probably the most disappointing, followed by The Black Tides of Heaven, which is the start of a novella quartet that I am still planning on continuing. This one I'm not DNFing. This one's just kind of, I love so much that happened, but I just wanted more. I just wanted this to be a novel. So I know the world's going to be expanded when I read further entries, but I just really wanted to follow this particular character through some of the things that happened off page, and I know the other parts are different characters. So I'm excited to experience more of the world, but a little bummed I didn't get to see more of this character's growth that was happening off page a lot of the time. It's kind of the nature of some novellas for me. And the last one I'll bring up, just like The Mask of Mirrors, this was a reread, and that's Hyperion. So this was a reread I did for the Library of Alexandria's channel. I will have that book discussion down below. We talk about it for over an hour with Evie. I like it. It's still a 4-star read for me. It's honestly a 3.5-star read until I get to the end of it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, the connections, this is great. I don't actually really like the narrative device of 7 short stories in this case. Like, I love it in The Last Wish for The Witcher, but I don't like it for this. It sets up a lot of important things. You have to read it to read the sequel. But I just don't like all the stories equally, and I think it drags. I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I still give it 4 stars. So those are all the things I read. Now, what am I hoping to get to? So that's the question. Per usual, I'm going to continue Wheel of Time and Malazan. So Midnight Tides, super excited for. I own it, audio and ebook. I'm ready. And then Wheel of Time, I think the plan is to try and read book 9 in February and book 10 in March, because we're trying to power through the slog. Because normally, if you're new here, I do a Wheel of Time book a season. But I've been trying to ramp that up just to get through the slog and try and get to the Brandon Sanderson books as soon as possible. And then I have a whole list of things I want to continue and things I want to start. So this sci-fi trilogy unfortunately suffered from my busy schedule, and that's the Resonance trilogy. So I really, really want to get to Ursa Major. I wanted to get to this in the fall and even finish it out because the entire trilogy was released one after the other in the fall, and I really liked First Light, which is the first book in the series. So I really want to get to Resonance. It's an indie book that I'm really hyped for, so Ursa Major is high on my list. Similarly, I wanted to get to Fall of Hyperion this fall, and it didn't happen, but I'm hoping to get to it in the winter and maybe buddy read that with Evie and Alan, and then we have a discussion again. Ryan's already reading Fall of Hyperion. And he's at least reminding me that, yes, I told him that Fall of Hyperion is very different from Hyperion in terms of its pacing, and he says, yes, things are actually happening. Although he was complaining that my mass market paperback has font that's a little too small, which fair. And then I also it's happening in December. I'm reading Liar's Knot because I've already started it. I'm 40 pages in. It's the sequel to one of my favorite books of the year. So yeah, The Liar's Knot sequel. I'm so excited to read that, and then I'll have to reread both of them before the third one comes out. Gosh darn, I love rereading. So The Liar's Knot, so excited. Next time I have reading time, that's the book I'm picking up, and after I'm done with The Liar's Knot, I am going to read The Poison Song, the last book in Winnowing Flame, because I need to know. I need to know what happens after that. The next 2 are arcs that I wanted to read in the fall, but I didn't get to, and they're both second books in series. So one is The Undertakers. This is the sequel to The Conductors, which I did like. I think it's a really fun, just cozy mystery. It's historical mystery fantasy. It takes place in Reconstruction era United States in, I believe, Philadelphia. So I liked the first book. I thought it was really fun, and I loved the main characters. So because of that, I'm really interested in reading The Undertakers because it's a continuation of that. So we'll see how that goes. And then I need to read The Bone Shard Emperor, which is the sequel to The Bone Shard Daughter. I didn't love The Bone Shard Daughter as much as everyone else, but I've heard really good things about the sequel, and it's one of those series where, like, Bone Shard Daughter, I believe, was a debut, and I can really see things opening up and being awesome in the sequel. So those are 2 arcs that I have that I would like to get to and continue those series. And then I just have 4 series that I'd like to start. And some of them are on my series I want to start in 2022 list. Actually, I think they're all on that list. They might be. Oh, look at me trying to accomplish goals early. Yes. So Murderbot is going to be our Patreon buddy read in January, so it's for sure happening. So I'm going to read All Systems Red. I have been meaning to read this book for like 2 years, so yay that it's finally happening. I also want to start the Xenogenesis series by Octavia Butler. The first book's called Dawn. I don't know if I'm saying that right, because I know the collection's called Lilith's Brood, but I think it has a different series name. Regardless, the first book's Dawn. I want to read it. I want to read more Octavia Butler. I want to continue my journey, maybe read the rest of the novels in 2022, and then I need to continue Robin Hobb. So Fool's Errand, I think, is the first book in the Tawny Man series. That's happening. I need to pick that up. And the last one I'll mention is Ancillary Justice, which is a sci-fi trilogy that is supposed to give similar world-building vibes to Nine Fox Gambit. Sign me up. I love Nine Fox Gambit. So yeah, those are all the things I hope to get to. And obviously I'll probably get to more than that because I'm going to pick up new releases that starts to series, and that's fine. I like my life the way it is. But let me know what you're hoping to get to, what you have read in the fall. If you want to leave an emoji, I don't know, leave a bone. We've got the Undertakers and Bone Shard Daughter. It's a little morbid, but like, yeah, leave a bone or a skull or a skeleton. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.